This is the talk show that takes a no-holds-barred approach to politics, where truth and integrity are the standard and the Constitution honored. From Renaissance Studios, this is Champion News Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. This is Carol Parisi, and today our founder Jack Roser is not here, but we have two terrific guests for you today. We have Bill Zettler, and he is the Director of Research for the Family Taxpayer Foundation, and we have Vivian Porter, who is a leader of the Homer Lockport Tea Party and a great grassroots activist. So I'd like to welcome you both and thank you for joining us today at Champion News. Now, Vivian, question for you. You're your mom. How did you get involved in this movement?
I've been fortunate to have my great uncle was always a conservative, and he always felt it was important to educate me about politics. So I was always listening to that, and especially through my teen years, I was a little like, yeah, you know, but I think it's almost on a daily basis that I hear his voice in my head these days saying how right he was. He, being that he was my great uncle, he was a teenager during the Depression and just saw things. He talked about Woodrow Wilson. I mean, talked about things that we're now talking about now as Tea Partiers. And so I had that as my base. I happened to work in the computer industry, so my skills there were just perfect to fit into Tea Party. And I just had the passion for the politics, and I'd always been upset with what I saw with Bush, you know, saying that, oh, we had Republican control of the House and the Senate when he was president, and we were just not bringing the country back to true conservative values. So I was watching then, and then once Obama got elected, I was, even prior to that, with the whole McCain campaign, I was livid. So by the time the Tea Party hit in February 2009, I was up off the couch with my good friend Megan. She calls me up and says, we're going down there. And so I went down there, and it was great to rally. And we went down again April 15th. And a friend of mine, Steve Ballich, who is my co-chair with the Homer Lockport Tea Party, said, oh, we need a Tea Party in our area. And that's how we started our Tea Party. And we just kept saying we wanted to find solutions. We didn't want to just, rally. We kept looking at the problems, going, what can we do to solve them? And so our group has really been evolving over the past 2 years. We went from rallies to, we were one of the first groups to do a candidate forum. We did the governor's forum back before the primary. We looked at that as an opportunity to ask candidates questions you would never see on the news.
For example, give us an example, Vivian. The questions you ask that other people won't ask.
We asked them where their rights came from. We asked them where they stood on abortion. We asked them, what other things did we ask them? We researched each of the candidates, asked them the hardest questions. The way we approached each of their own individual questions were, what's the dirt the Democrats will bring out if this guy wins? And those were the questions we asked there. We obviously made them mad, which I thought, you know what, we did our job.
So these are Republicans you made mad?
Yes, because the Democrats would not come. We invited both the Democrats and the Republicans. You were talking about 9 candidates at that point. Some of the independents were a little upset with us for that, but we thought if we got all 9 of them.
Okay, candidates for what?
For governor.
Governor.
Okay.
You know what, I did want to ask you, because you and I were speaking the other day, and your story was so compelling to me about how you were shy, and now you're a leader and you're speaking in front of people. Can you just speak a little to that?
Yeah, because a lot of people say to me, oh, Vivian, well, you can do this, I can't. And I sit there and I say to them, I was the shyest little kid you could possibly imagine. but I did like riding my bike in the 4th of July parade and things like that. I hated giving speeches in high school. I mean, I just drudged it. And somehow my career took me to where I do software training, where I had to then speak in front of people. So it was something that evolved in me that I thought, if I can do this, if I can come out of my shell of being this shy little kid, why can't you? And people say, oh, I can't knock a door. And I'm like, yes, you can. I said, you just need to try it and do, I forget who said, just make 7 door knocks or 7 phone calls and then tell me what you think of it.
Right.
Give
it a chance.
Yeah.
Well, Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Let's ask Bill some questions now. Bill, how long have you been engaged? Are you a grassroots leader? What exactly do you do? And how did you get involved? Are you part of the Tea Party movement? Let's hear a little bit about you and your story, please.
I've really been involved with Jack and the Champion News for about 10 years. I've been writing about a lot of things, but mainly pensions and public compensation issues. So salaries, pensions for teachers, state employees, judges, etc. So my background is also computers. It's software, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
And so we have something in common with Vivian there. No, I'm not a door knocker. I'm basically behind the scenes, spend a lot of time doing research and writing. So that's basically my job at Champion.
So you do the research.
I do the research.
I guess my question is, research is great because that translates to the grassroots that can go ahead and take some of these research items that you do for solutions. And I mean, clearly, now Bill, do you think lawmakers have the political will to do what's necessary to take our pensions and reform them?
No, the current crop, I'm convinced, do not have. So we must replace them. We really need to get conservative. I don't care whether they're Republican or Democrat, really. We need to get conservatives in Springfield because the current crop down there is beholden to the unions, especially the teachers' unions, and nothing is going to happen. What has happened? What has happened since everybody's been aware of this crisis? It's been 3 years now since we've known this is unsustainable, since 2009, 2008. Yet nothing's been done except our taxes have been raised. The
By how
pensions
much?
are ongoing.
How much have our taxes been raised?
Geez, I think it's 2/3, isn't it?
I think it was 67% in the
That's
middle of the night
correct.
during the lame duck session. Thank you so much, Springfield.
And what
Way to go.
happened? The pensions, the $400,000 a year pensions are still being paid every year. The $6 to $8 billion that they owe vendors is still unpaid. Where do you think that $6.8 billion went? Well, let me tell you. The pension payment this year was $6.2 billion. That's where all the money's gone. It hasn't gone anywhere else.
Well, now, Bill, this is great. I'm sure our listeners want to hear these statistics. But, Bill, where can they find these statistics? Because a lot of times you hear something and it goes by so quickly. But when you could visually look at it and look at the information, I know that they can go to championnews.net.
Go to championnews.net. And on the right-hand side of the home page, there's a place where you can click for the pension database. Now, I have a database here from Will County, Joliet, that I just did today. They can go in there, and you can even look up an individual if you want, or your local area. You could look up Lockport, for example, and find all the pensions of all the people who've retired in Lockport on public jobs. That includes the city of Lockport, Will County, anything.
Anything. Now, is this statewide, Bill?
It's statewide.
So anybody throughout the state could go to championnews.net, click on, it says pension
database on the home page.
And they can go to their own local community. They can get individual. They can get all this data there.
By schools, by cities, park districts. You'll get them all, and they're already pre-sorted from the highest ones to the lowest ones. Like, for example, I don't think people know that in the city of Joliet, the highest pension that's being paid right now is $165,000 a year. Anybody have an idea that anybody was getting that kind of money?
Wow.
And remember, these people also get Social Security. So this person, who I don't know, John Mesera, is
Name and
pulling
names.
down $190,000 a year if you include his Social Security.
But Bill, you know what? These contracts were negotiated by the unions, and the lawmakers allowed these things to happen.
Absolutely.
So the thing
It is a political problem.
It is clearly a political problem.
Yes,
And I think that with groups like your organization and the grassroots, we need to integrate on how we can do better for the grassroots to replace these lawmakers that are willing to do some of these deals.
We're willing to educate the grassroots, any of the Tea Parties that want to know how to do Freedom of Information Act requests, which are very powerful tools in every local community. You can ask, you can demand
Absolutely.
to see salaries, you can demand to see pensions, you can demand to see fringe benefits. You'll be amazed at the number of people that
But
get
you know
5
what?
weeks vacation, for
But just
example.
looking at that information and not taking actionable steps, what are you doing? Hey, you know what? We're going to talk more about this after the break.